let's talk about the F word for a second, fear or failure. A lot of people will say failure is not an option. But there's really no truth to that, because
there's absolutely no truth to it.
You have to have failure to have success. So in that context, what's gone wrong in order for you to figure out how to get it right?
You're going to always have failures, okay?
Yeah.
And you just sometimes open up wrong and you just screw up, or once again you believed your performer that you gave to the bank instead of the conservative one for yourself.
You thinking about a particular restaurant? Or
Yeah. I mean, you just blow openings, you have the wrong management in it, or just whatever. You just didn't do it right. But it's just a numbers game. And if you open up X amount of restaurants, you're going to have some failures. But what I try not to do is, and it's all right when you're opening a single restaurant and have a failure, but you never want to buy a company and it be a failure, and that's why you got to do that worst case scenario.
I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I want to pry a little bit more into that, because I think all of us want to know a little bit more detail. So can you think of, maybe I'll try and pin you down on the most painful failure that you've had? And again, I've heard it said, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. So it's really not a failure if you're learning from it. But can you think of an instance that still stings, and you learned a valuable lesson that helped you get to where you are today?
Probably the one that stings me the most is something I tried to buy and I negotiated too hard, and I thought they would come back to me to buy it. And while I was waiting for them to come back to me to buy it, they liquidated it and just sold it off because it didn't mean anything to them. And
what was that?
I mean, I hate to even say, it was something silly, but it was an unbelievable car collection. And they even had this historical place and all the real estate with it and everything. And it was so many of these muscle cars that are worth so much money today. And I really had it bought right. And I mean, and to sit there and negotiate hard over a couple of $100,000, and it would probably be worth quadruple that today. But it's not even the money as much as it would have just been a great asset to own. It would have just been a great asset to own. And it didn't change my life at all, but it just, for some reason, and this was 25 years ago, I'm still pissed off at myself.
Yeah, the one that got away.
It's just the one that got away.
Yeah. What did you learn from it?
I learned sometimes you got to call them back, or that could happen again. So
you let the pride get in the way?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, or just a negotiating tactic, and that I just played too hardball, and I wasn't. The person on the other side was a son selling a dad's asset, and so he didn't know how to negotiate, and I didn't recognize that he didn't know how to negotiate, and that I was dealing with an amateur, and he went and did an amateurish move and just sold the assets off and didn't get any more for them. But I should have read that I was dealing with an amateur.
Good lesson. That is excellent. Thank you for that.
I mean, we were just sitting back, chopping it up, reminiscing about the good old days and all that. Tracking my roots, where I came from.